So it turns out I like making baby quilts, and that's a surprise. I don't know why. I guess because before I started quilting, I never gave it a thought. I think it's fun for so many reasons. It's fun as a quilter because they come together so quickly. The quilt top does. It's fun considering the patterns, quilt patterns, well, and the quilting patterns, that too. But it's just a delight to consider the fabrics and the colors, to match a nursery, to bring light and life into someone's nursery and home and baby, and just, everything baby is kind of great anyway. But when you have friends that are at the age they start having babies, for me at least, I just want to make something beautiful and useful. It's just one of those things that I love. I don't want it to just be beautiful. I want them to use it. I don't want it to just be useful. I want it to be beautiful. And so I have just discovered that it's like really a lot of fun. So today I'm going to show you one that I have made fairly recently. And it's a mixture of fabrics that I got at my local quilt store, some fabrics that I got online, and some men's dress shirts that I got from the thrift store. So it's just kind of a big mix of all of the things that I thought would be beautiful for my friend and her baby. So I'm a pharmacist, and I work with a lovely individual. She and I have known each other for, I think, 5 years now, and I actually, in part, helped train her when she got out of pharmacy school, and we just clicked. And she is such a wonderful person, and she herself is very creative, and she has fantastic taste. And so when I found out she was having a baby, I was super excited, and instantly, of course, volunteered to make her a baby quilt. And so here we go. So I texted her, what are the colors of your nursery? And she sent me a picture of, I don't know where it came from, maybe Pinterest, who knows? It's the colors of these little tassels, and it is a dusty rose, a burnt orange, kind of a mustard, some creams, and then like a pale pink. Just a really neat array of peaches and pinks. And I instantly knew why she loved it, and instantly panicked because I have none of those fabrics in my fabric stash. And she just knew immediately that's her color palette. When I showed my daughter, my oldest daughter, she said, "That's such a millennial color palette." And I said, "Well, that explains it." So I, like I do with everything, what do? Go to the thrift store. So I went to the thrift store near my house. I went to the Goodwill near my house. I went across town to a nonprofit organization that sells clothes. I probably visited 6 thrift shops looking for these colors. And because it's not really in my wheelhouse, this particular color palette, it was a stretch, and it was exciting. I actually called my pharmacy partner, who is a millennial, and said, "Oh my goodness, you're gonna have to help me with this." So went on the search for, got all of these shirts, and then got home and was like, these are beautiful and they don't look good together. So then I had to go to the fabric store, to my quilt fabric store, and took my youngest daughter, who has this unbelievable eye for color, and we found some quilt fabric that perfectly blended the shirt fabric. And then I got to spend the time looking for a quilt pattern that I thought that would just suit the bill. And after a long search, 6 or 7 iterations, I stumbled on one that I really, really loved, and so I'm going to show you. So here's the quilt. It's finished now. It is, I think it's 46 by 46, 46 inches by 46 inches. The shirt fabrics, if you're interested, are this one, and this one, this dark. The ones that I got from my fabric store are this darkest kind of burnt orange, the peach with the polka dots, the pale pink, which very easily could have just been a men's shirt, and then this one right here, this kind of dusty rose. And so the quilt pattern is actually called Celtic Crossing, the Celtic Crossing quilt by Lo and Behold Stitches. And it's a take on an Irish chain pattern, except Irish chain is usually white background, and then the diagonals are the color. So she kind of did a reverse, and I did my own take on that, and we did a kind of a gradient in the family of colors that we picked. And then I extended in the original pattern, the colors did not extend all the way to the edge of the quilt. So I carried this pale pink all the way up to the edge, actually all of them up to the top and bottom edge. And then I put the palest pink on the edge, just so that the whole thing is colored and the only white is actually on the diagonal. And the white fabric is actually just slightly off-white with little white suns, which you won't be able to see from this distance. But so then, after deciding on the pattern, deciding on the fabrics, I then had to decide what to do about the backing. So we went rounds again, the younger daughter and me, trying to come up with a backing fabric. And this is what we settled on. I have discovered that patterned quilt backing fabric is a thing. Also, me saying it's a thing is now a thing. So there are a lot of people do what I would consider a very busy backing fabric, like a floral or just a really involved motif. This one is just like a plaid, but on point, and it has that dark dusty rose, some peach, a little bit of orange. In the end, I kind of fought my younger daughter about it because I wasn't sure, because it just looked very peach to me. I don't know, that we 80s kids, I don't think we got into the peach. But anyway, so that was what we ended up with. And then the binding is just a slightly darker peachy, pinky. It's the millennial color palette with little pale polka dots. So anyway, so that's what we ended up with. And then I saw on a YouTube tutorial, actually, that you should put a tag on your quilts that you give to people that has, at the bare minimum, your name and when you finish the quilt, because it could potentially become an heirloom for the person that you give it to, and they may want to remember you and when it was made. And if it gets passed down, then one day that's a really meaningful thing. And actually, I learned that from Melanie K. Ham, her website, her YouTube channel. So I made a little tag, and it says, "Made with Love for Karis" by Kathy Martin. And then when I finished it, and then just because I love this so much, there is a company called Kylie and the Machine. They're actually in Australia, and they make tags that are just like a tag in your clothes. And all of these wonderful messages. My very favorite, which they were sold out of, was "Made with Love and Swear Words." And I actually could have only bought those, but they were out of them. Clearly, I'm not the only one that has that experience when I'm quilting. But for Karis, I was obviously not going to put "Made with Love and Swear Words." So instead, I picked the one that it's just a pale blue little tag, and it says, "You are loved," on a cloud. I think what's meaningful about that, not necessarily that tag or any tag that you put on it, but I think most quilts are made with love. I think women and men who spend their precious time, their precious free time, piecing together fabric, thinking of the pattern that they want to do it, all of the hours and all of the time in the fabric store and all of the time in the thrift store, all of that time, I was happy to do that because I love my friend and I'm gonna love her baby. And so getting to do that, and then the quilt top coming together so fast, like almost in an afternoon. It's one of those things that makes quilting really different than a lot of other crafts, and I think part of the reason why I like it so much. And so that's the story. This is like been a show and tell. I guess I'm gonna have to do that as a theme, show and tell. So here it is again. I'm gonna hold it up past my head so you can see the whole thing. And then the back one more time, if you wanna see it. One more time. And that's the story of my friend's baby quilt. I'm Kathy Martin. This is the Catbird Quilts. Thank you for watching.